Morning.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning.
Morning, Madam Chair. Would you like us to begin the housekeeping remarks?
Yeah, that would be great.
Thanks.
Thank you for participating in today's meeting. Please do not connect to Zoom or teleconference while in the room, and please silence all devices. Click on the globe at the bottom of your screen to select either English or Spanish. Public comment will be taken after each item. If you are in the auditorium and wish to comment, please use the iPads located in the lobby. For meetings in other locations, please complete a blue speaker card and provide it to a South Coast AQMD employee. Speakers may be limited to a total of 3 minutes or less for all agenda items, and times may be shortened to ensure all speakers can be heard. A countdown timer will be displayed on the screen for each public comment. Word time will be allotted for Spanish translation that is not simultaneous. For questions or issues on public comment, please call the public advisor at 909-396-3247. That's 909-396-3247. Please adhere to the speaker time limit and treat others with courtesy, civility, and respect. Failure to do so can result in your mic being muted or you being removed from the meeting. Be aware that this meeting is being recorded. By participating, you are authorizing recording of audio and visual content presented during the live event and consent to subsequent use of the recording in the public domain by South Coast AQMD.
All right. Well, good morning. I'll call this meeting to order. Can we get a roll call, please?
Good morning. Vice Chair Cacchiotti,
Here.
Board Member Krakoff, absent. Supervisor Perez, I see is online and just needs to be moved over to a panelist. And Chair Delgado,
And I'm here.
as soon as Supervisor Perez gets moved over, we will have a quorum.
Okay, great. We'll give him a minute. I think we can start with board member concerns. There he is.
I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Item number 1 is just board member concerns. Anything that you all want to share with us today?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Not a concern, just very quickly, I want to say thank you to our staff. Doing a great job yesterday out here in the desert regarding issues around dust that are new to us, I guess, not knowing what it is, not necessarily being 2.5 or 10, but the type of dust that kind of just sticks out or stands out, and you can see it on an ongoing basis. And folks are concerned that obviously it'll have a public health impact as well as economic and so on and so forth. Regardless of all that, staff did a great job coming out and explaining what we do as well as the science of it all. But more importantly, really made it to take a step forward as partners with the folks from back here, all the electeds, to try to figure out solutions. And that's what folks wanted to, we're hoping to hear. So more news to come on that front, but I know that staff might have been a little nervous about it, but in the end, there was much applause. And it seems to me like the media covered it. It seems fair. It seems positive. I'll have to take a look at more of what's out there. But at the end of the day, we showed up. CARB was on the line, and EPA as well was there with an individual. That's never happened before. So I see that as a victory just in and of itself and bringing all these folks together. So with that being said, eventually we'll have a symposium of sorts on air quality with AQMD and all these other entities that need to play a role in trying to bring resources and deal with this issue that seems to be impacting people out here. So just want to say thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. Great job, staff.
Thank you. And you're welcome, Supervisor.
All right, with that, we'll go to approved travel, and I didn't see anything on that. So we'll move to the out of country travel, which we just have Wings trip coming up. No motion required. I don't see any hands raised here. I'm going to keep an eye online for public comment on any of these items. Any questions or comments on the board agenda? Item number 4.
No.
Wayne, anything that you need to present to us?
I would just note that November is going to be a very busy month. We'll be doing 3 set hearings for Rules 1173, 1445, and 1151. And then on the public hearing, we'll have 2 items. One will be dealing with Pebbly Beach and Power on Catalina. That's Rule 1135. And then finally, just determining that the Coachella Valley Attainment Plan for the 2008 8-hour ozone standard is exempt in our attainment plan, and we'll be able to submit that to EPA. That's it.
Sounds exciting.
Yep.
Okay. Any board assistant? I didn't see any proposals necessary for compensation of board assistants. Let me double
We
check.
have none for this meeting.
Okay, great.
Yep.
All right, that brings us to Dr. Hurd Johnson on an update diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity to share what we have done in the month of August. And again, as it is Friday the 13th even, we're going to share a wonderful, fabulous Female Friday. Next slide, please. So Maria Telx was a chemist, a biophysicist, and an inventor. And to put it plainly, she was solar. She was solar. And so what I think is especially important, just again, as I do this job and get so much more educated about environmental justice, the lack of information that we have about women in the sciences, women in leadership is one of the reasons why we do Fabulous Female Friday. And so she created the first solar-powered home. She was Hungarian by birth, but she lived in Florida for much of her life. So many of her accomplishments were all very focused on solar, the development of the solar distillation system, the invention of the solar thermoelectric generator. She created the first solar-powered home in 1948, right? Like 1948. And so she only died recently in the scheme of things, but she was 94 years old. And so again, I just wanted to elevate Maria Telx to us today for Fabulous Female Friday. So yeah, next slide, please. Just beautiful pictures of governing board members and our interns. I just wanted to do a public thank you to the intern supervisors, those staff who presented in their onboarding, to the leadership who facilitated this process, to our AHR division for all of the hidden and incredible administrative work that it took to get all of these wonderful interns in front of us. But we began the month of August with the Governing Board Internship Breakfast. So here you see the wonderful slides here. And I would like to say that, again, being in space with the interns was inspirational for me in my own work, to see them at the beginning of their careers, having such a passion for environmental justice, for the work that we're doing, the energy that we're doing. It was really good, like a good juice for me. It was like, okay, that was good. I needed that little B12 shot, but it was like, intern shot. But anyway, those are pictures of them right there. Next slide, please. They share with us a couple things, and they just talked about, which is what our goal is for this program, that we're giving them the experience of what it's like to be in the professional world, that there's an opportunity to talk about their passions for sustainability and the environment, and then really just like the nuances around rulemaking, permits, like that kind of access to the work is what was achieved. And that's exactly what our goals were. And so again, just so grateful to our team here and the governing board for allowing us to do this program and even extend it and added more people. So, and I'm also excited that one of our governing board interns from this year has asked to be on our YLAC. So we like that retention of them to stay involved as well. So next slide, please. Again, we're working very strongly with our employee resource groups. We're planning events for the fall, as we've mentioned to you all before, that we are going to be doing more in-person activities here within the agency, our diversity, equity, inclusion programs, and we're working with our employee resource groups. I'm going to be very excited that we're working right now for celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month next month, and so we're just doing a lot of those kind of nuances. So we're a little light in our programming this particular month because what you all will see in probably the November board meeting is a lot of our AB 617 work that we're doing with the community. That's what a lot of our DEI staff are working on in the month of August. But we're doing a lot of planning this month for some events. So I think in September's report, in October, you'll see a lot more. But anyway, so a lot of planning going on with our employee resource groups. Next slide, please. Any questions?
Thank you for that. Board members, any questions?
No, great report again, especially about the lady chemist. That was incredible. Solar, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I mean, way ahead of her time, right?
Right.
And in Florida, of all places, I mean, it makes sense to be in Florida. But I just wonder about the politics of it all, like, the obstacles she might have had. Don't know what it was like back in the day, how conservative it was, but she was able to, get pretty far, it seems like, and be a leader and a founding mother, if you will, of solar. That's pretty impressive.
Definitely. We do have one hand raised virtually, so I'm going to go ahead and take that now. I think he has 3 minutes for items 1 through 9, if that's correct, staff.
That's correct.
Okay, Harvey Eder.
Hello, good morning. Being heard.
Yes, we can hear you, Harvey. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you. I'm speaking for my name is Harvey Eder. I'm speaking for myself and Public Solar Power Coalition. I've heard this woman's name, but first of all, saying that she put in the first solar home in 48, I question the veracity of that. I'd like to know where your source is. There used to be a lot of stuff on solar history coming out of the CEC. They put out the bulletins. One bulletin said that in 1910, 30% of the building permits for the city of Pasadena had solar heating in it. Okay? What happened was we had oil and gas booming all over the place. The gas companies wanted to extend their lines. They did. They gave away free hardware. They wiped out the solar industry, and that was over 100 years ago. It's happening again and right now, and we're stifled. So there's a bunch of women that have been omitted. There's brew women. There was one that was working on DNA with Creek and those guys, and she was totally purged. She died. Anyway, and there was another woman who was involved in armaments manufacturing with the U.S. government, etc. These are like Nobel level people that were purged out of it, women, brew women. So enough for now. We'll save time. And I'd like to make other comments about brews and DEI and what's happening now and perpetuating and furthering the real genocide on us that was started in World War II and for millennia. And by the false accusations of self-defense in Hamas's using human shields, calling it friggin' genocide, and perpetuating ours around the world with the rise of anti-Semitism and the right. Bye.
Okay. Um, so that brings us to item number 7. Also, Dr. Herr Johnson, the appointment of somebody to our Youth Leaders Council.
Yes, Ty Nguyen. He's a computer information systems major with Cal State University Pomona. He was one of our governing board interns in this past summer. He worked for our IM division, and he would like to continue working with South Coast AQMD as a member of WILAC, serving in the Orange County seat.
That's wonderful. All right, we don't need a motion for that. So thank you so much for your presentation. Board members, any questions or comments of Sujata? Do you have a presentation for us today on RFQs, RFPs?
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of the committee. Sujata Jain, Chief Financial Officer. This item is to request the release of 2 RFPs. The first is to issue an RFP for independent certified public accountants to conduct the AB 2766 audits for fiscal years 21-22 and 22-23. The funds for this expense are included in fiscal year 24-25 budget. Happy to answer questions on that. And the second RFP is to the second item is to issue RFPs for various telecommunication services through a competitive bid process. The current contract will expire in February 2025. The new contract for these services will be for a 3-year period. The funds for these services in the amount of $975,000 are included in the 24-25 budget and will be requested in future budgets for a total of $2,295,000. I'm happy to answer any questions on that too.
Okay, board members, any questions? Don't see any hands raised, and we don't need a motion on that. Okay, thank you, Sujata. That takes us to Ron, item number 9 on updates on major projects in information management.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Ron Moskowitz, Deputy Executive Officer and Chief Information Officer. We've had a lot of activity and innovation this month. We are pleased to announce our successful completion of the second fiscal year and closing. We worked together with Sujata's team, played a key role in managing the closing procedures and ensured the creation of secure cold storage copy for long-term data preservation. We also recovered from a major power outage. We helped a lot of meetings, including the Chiquita Landfill Hearing Board, offsite meeting. And finally, due to the recent wildfires in our basin, we've seen a significant surge in visits to both the AQMD air quality map and the mobile app. Daily visits to the AQI map are up by 6-fold, with a peak of over 29,000 daily visits, thanks to the coverage from some news organizations. And similarly, the new installs for our mobile app have nearly increased 10-fold in the past week. We saw over 4,100 new installs in just the last 7 days. And that's compared to about 300 to 400 installs per week. So now we're at 97,836 installs on our mobile app. Everything else is on schedule, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to action items 10 to 14. And Ron, you can lead us through item 10, please.
Yes, good morning again. This action is to obtain approval for the purchase of an Esri enterprise agreement for a period of 3 years at the amount not to exceed $185,000 per year. Funds in the first year's purchase are included in IM's fiscal year 24-25 budget, and the funds for subsequent years will be included in future budget requests. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board members, questions or a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Great. It's been moved in second. I'm watching for comments from the public. I don't see any hands raised. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Board Member Krakow, absent. Supervisor Perez?
Yes.
And Chair Delgado?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 with 1 absent.
Great. Item number 11 is Jason, if you could walk us through that item, please.
Sure. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. Jason Lowe, Deputy Executive Officer for Monitoring Analysis. So these actions are to support the implementation of the amended Rule 1180 and the adopted Rule 1180.1, which requires oil refineries, related facilities, and other refineries to fund the installation and operation of fence line and community air monitoring stations. The actions are to recognize revenue of up to around $7.5 million for both Rule 1180 and 1180.1 into the Rule 1180 Special Revenue Fund. Transfer and appropriate almost $1.5 million into the monitoring analysis budget, issue purchase orders for air monitoring shelters and vehicles, and add new positions for the planning and implementation of enhanced additional community air monitoring. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Board members, questions or a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved in second. And before we take a vote, I did see Harvey Etter raise his hand. So we'll take that comment.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, I've got a question. I'm concerned about the monitoring 617 community is great. I am not educated on the quality of this and how it relates to legal evidence for litigation. I want to make sure that the quality of this is not obfuscating and that it can be used as legal evidence. So from the get-go, we got to think ahead on this because we're gathering in the most affected communities, and this is with more mortality and morbidity are the highest. Okay, enough for now. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Stephanie, response to that?
Yeah, I can respond to that. Thank you for the question, Harvey. So the refinery fence line and community air monitoring systems are designed to provide real-time information to the public, as well as to provide notifications if levels of pollutants exceed certain health thresholds. And this was run by people with public health backgrounds to develop those thresholds and be able to provide people who sign up to the list to be alerted if those levels of pollutants exceed the thresholds. With regards to information, that information can lead towards an investigation of potential emissions sources if those levels are exceeded.
Okay, thank you for that. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Board Member Krakow, absent. Supervisor Perez?
Yes.
Chair Delgado?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 with 1 absent.
Okay, Jason, number 12, please.
All right, thank you. So this one's relatively straightforward. South Coast AQMD previously received a federal grant award under the US EPA under the Inflation Reduction Act. This action is to recognize the remaining balance of around $100,000 and appropriate those funds to the monitoring analysis budget and issue a solicitation and purchase order for air monitoring shelter. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Board members? Questions, motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so let's take a vote on that, please.
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Board Member Krakow, absent. Supervisor Perez?
Yes.
And Chair Delgado?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 with 1 absent.
Last one, Jason.
Okay, I'll take it away. So this one, South Coast AQMD through the federal year 24-25 budget fiscal process, approved the purchase of air monitoring laboratory equipment. This action is to issue solicitations and purchase orders for that equipment in an estimated amount of $330,000. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Motion, questions?
Where do we plan on putting this equipment?
So a lot of this equipment goes to our air monitoring stations. These are the 36 or so that are within the South Coast Air Quality Management District jurisdiction. And some of the equipment is for our laboratory that's here at Diamond Bar.
Okay. Is there any thought, and this goes back to our conversation we had yesterday, Wayne, and about air monitors in the Coachella Valley being maybe relocated or perhaps expanded upon? Is that a separate conversation?
That'll be a separate conversation, Supervisor.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Motion?
For approval.
Second.
All right. I don't see any hands raised. Can we get a vote on that, please?
Vice Chair Cacchiotti?
Yes.
Board Member Krakow, absent. Supervisor Perez,
Yes.
Chair Delgado.
Yes.
Motion passes 3 with 1 absent.
All right. So we're on item 14. It looks like Sessa, it's back to lead us through that.
Yes. So we would like to propose to appropriate the remaining 45,000 of the first phase of the USEAPA State Environmental Justice Cooperative Agreement Project toward amending the existing contract for Desert Healthcare District and Foundation. This is for the Air Quality Academy. It was established in 2021. And so we're proposing to spend the remaining funds, excuse me, to provide air filtration systems and additional community training to operate these air filtration systems to reduce exposure to air within residential homes in the eastern Coachella Valley.
Great. Board members?
Obviously, I can appreciate that. But with that said, let's just make sure that, you know, that South Coast Air Quality Management District, you know, is front and center of being valued for this work, I guess. I'm not saying that we need any special treatment here or any type of special recognition. But as we continue to do these type of projects and we expand them to new frontiers, if you will, and organizations that potentially we hadn't worked with in the past or programs, I think it's important that we have our seal. I think it's important that we are there lock and step as partners, once again, to demonstrate and advance our image, if you will. So just want to put that out there for your consideration as you move forward.
Okay. Is that a motion to move forward?
Yeah, yeah.
Second,
All right. I don't see any hands raised. So can we get a vote on that, please?
Vice Chair Caccioti.
yes.
Board Member Krakow, absent. Supervisor Perez
Yes.
and Chair Delgado.
Yes.
Motion passes 3 with 1 absent.
Okay, thank you. There are no written reports. I don't have any other business to share. I did want to ask staff if we're going to be doing any more remote board meetings anytime this year or next year.
We don't have any plans for the remainder of this year, but next year we are starting to work on those plans.
Okay, sounds good. Is there public comment? Yes, I do see a hand raised for public comment. Item 16, Harvey Eder.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes.
Is this public comment?
Yes, we're on public comment.
Okay, I should have called new business. Anyway, my name's Harvey Eder. I'm speaking for myself and Public Solar Power Coalition and like-minded folks and entities. Anyway, real concerned about process and the people being purged on solar. No evaluation of the Sunshot program from Department of Energy going back like 15 years, all right? And information about this when we brought it up and related to it being purged. Specifically, the February 8th Administrative Committee meeting, this committee with Dr. Burke. It was me, Dr. Burke, and a little bit from Wayne, okay? And it was 1109.1. That's been purged. You should be able to go to a Google bar and take any meeting and talk it in. It's been purged, and it continues to be purged. And I've referred to it several times. I referred to it, and I'm incorporating by reference that in here. And the December 6th meeting, 19, we got run out of court. We spoke half a dozen times, and we brought this up, and we quoted that meeting where Dr. Burke said, you know, God knows how long you've been coming here talking about solar. We got to address this. The people coming to us on solar. We can't just put a footnote, a paragraph. And he goes, to my way of thinking, all the time he's been saying this, you must be right, because nobody's disagreed with you or challenged you. There was a quip from Wayne. He said, "Oh, you can't put solar and heaters and boilers at refineries." I said, "Yes, you can. You have a site on that?" He had nothing. I said, "We got 100 exhibits. Y'all never evaluated it. CARB never did. EPA never did. It's outrageous. When we talk, you purge us. We continue to be purged, and now the record has been purged. Evidence. This is outrageous." So, this is a systemic purging of the truth, of the people, of the facts, of the data, of the science. It will not stand, and anything that comes from it is rotten fruit from rotten root. Understand? We're trying to litigate. We're trying to get information together. Y'all know that. And nobody's helping out and making it hard as hell. So also, when Ron G. George supported us and said we got run out of court and talked to Dr. Burke about it and stuff, and he said that he got information from Bay that was different. They wouldn't cite what we brought it up. He said, "You have to. Where did you get this? What are you talking about? That's a lie." Okay, this is outrageous. But he said in that February 8th administrative board meeting, "You must be right." Also, you said that at the last board meeting in June. I want to incorporate that. Oh, it was a board meeting. It was coming up about tanks and whatnot. And I said, "We want to see the report." And then it went to compost, and she started talking. And I thought it was something else, and was corrected. And she goes, "Oh."
Thank you, Harvey. Our next meeting date is October 11th. Board members, anything else before we adjourn?
No, Madam Chair.
No, thank you.
No, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.